Heavily influenced by Bud Powell, but fashioned his own personal identity from that concept. He was a favorite accompanist for many jazz greats, including Sonny Rollins and John Coltrane. Who was Kenny Drew? Here on Big on Bebop. He was born Kenneth Sidney Drew on August 28, 1928 in New York City. He grew up in a musically rich environment and began piano lessons at age 5. His early training was rooted in classical music, but like many of his contemporaries in Harlem, Drew was soon captivated by the jazz sounds dominating the city's nightlife and radio waves. He attended the High School of Music and Art in New York City, where he developed close friendships with other aspiring jazz musicians. By his teens, he had already started performing professionally, debuting as an accompanist for the Pearl Primus Dance School. As bebop transformed jazz in the mid-1940s, Drew became immersed in the movement. He was heavily influenced by pianists like Bud Powell and Thelonious Monk, incorporating their innovations while developing his own lyrical and rhythmically fluid style. In the late 1940s and early 1950s, Drew worked with a host of important bebop figures: Coleman Hawkins, Lester Young, Charlie Parker, Buddy DeFranco, and Howard McGhee, who he had his first recording job with in 1950. Drew's debut album as a leader, New Faces, New Sounds, was released on Blue Note Records in 1953, featuring drummer Art Blakey. It was one of the first releases in Blue Note's 10-inch LP series and showcased Drew's crisp technique and modern sensibility. He moved briefly to California, working with his own trio in Los Angeles and San Francisco. He returned to New York in 1956 and accompanied Dinah Washington. He then toured with Art Blakey, played with Buddy Rich from 1958 to 59. Drew became an in-demand sideman during the hard bop era. His playing balanced bluesy soulfulness with a harmonic depth and rhythmic clarity. Some of his key recordings from this period include John Coltrane's Blue Train in 1957, Sonny Rollins' Tour de Force, and Dexter Gordon, Our Man in Paris in 1963. During this time, Drew also recorded standout albums as a leader, such as Kenny Drew Trio in 1956 with Paul Chambers and Philly Joe Jones, and Undercurrent in 1960 featuring Freddie Hubbard and Hank Mobley, a session which is underrated as a hard bop gem. In 1961, disillusioned with the racial and economic struggles facing jazz musicians in the United States, Drew moved to Paris and soon settled in Copenhagen, joining a thriving community of American expatriate jazz artists. In Europe, Drew found both artistic freedom and steady work. He formed a long-running musical partnership with bassist Niels Henning Ørsted Pedersen. Their duo and trio performances became central to the Scandinavian jazz scene. Drew's European period produced a wealth of recordings, both solo and in small groups, including duo with Niels Henning Ørsted Pedersen and Morning in 1965. Despite his distance from the U.S. scene, Drew maintained a devoted following and frequently collaborated with visiting American musicians. Kenny Drew died on August 4th in 1993 in Copenhagen, Denmark, just weeks before his 65th birthday. His legacy is one of quiet excellence, a pianist who never sought the spotlight but whose contributions shaped the sound of modern jazz piano. Though often underrated in the U.S., Drew's recordings, particularly his trio and sidemen work, continue to be studied and celebrated by jazz fans and musicians worldwide. He played with a precise touch, balancing boppish melodic improvisation with block chording that included refreshingly subtle harmonizations. Kenny Drew, a great bebop piano player.